I think the thing that I was disappointed in with Joel yesterday, and this is true of the rest of the guys too, but frankly, a lot of these other guys are more accomplished than him and probably have earned the right to play this way a little bit. Very casual to start that game. A lot of just like 50% effort on defense. They're just like some lollygagging around. The pass that him and Booker didn't connect on the inbounds was a play that I have probably seen him make 100 times for the Sixers. Like, he's barely looking as he throws it. And it wasn't that it was like the worst pass in the world, but it's just like, dude, it only takes like a half second of just focus to get the ball to your guy. And those little things add up in meaningful games, right? Like, these don't matter in the sense that, like, Joel makes an error on Team USA. They can bring in Kevin Durant off the bench and have him score 20 plus points in a first half and not miss a shot. And nobody's really going to remember all the Joel mistakes. But my hope for this experience for him was that he would come in, be engaged, be locked in, come out and like really play like he wants to prove something. And there have been moments like that. Like, I think in the second half, he definitely looked better. I thought that the overall connectiveness of the team was better after that. But it's just like, dude, I don't want to have to deal with bullshit because you're out there screwing around is really what it comes down to. When he is engaged, he had a nice block in the second half. He was setting some great screens. Again, getting Steph Curry wide open shots. He's not going to make all of them, but if you're constantly creating open threes for Steph Curry, more often than not, that's going to lead to good results for the team. And you see him doing some of the stuff that I think all of us are hoping for. And then you get that opening stretch, and it's like, Joel, come on, man. Like, just make it easy for us.
Will you not think about us, Joel? We have to talk about this the next
And
game.
then he missed those free throws, and you're like, come on, man, just knock those down.
Did he make a single free throw
yesterday? He was
yesterday?
0 for 3.
Come on.
0 for 3, and the first two were very early.
Joel.
That's what he does. He makes those, right? So, and look, none of us are going to sit here and sugarcoat and say the guy, again, can't play basketball and that he didn't look good yesterday either. We know that. We witnessed it. We all watched it. We saw what we saw. But, yeah, in that second half, he was much more engaged. He got that flagrant foul that it was kind of weird because it's like, all right,
that was a bullshit call.
He was trying to grab the guy, make sure he didn't fall after inadvertently hitting them. And then they called the other three down the other way where they called that a foul. Steph Curry had on the play right before that, same play. They didn't call that one on the missed three-point attempt. And it was just a little up in the air. But if Joel is also barking at the officials, he's not going to get those types of calls. But look, he has to be much, much better. And he had been before this particular game because
That's what was so confusing.
Play so well when he had that, 16, 18-point game, whatever it was. He had 8 boards. He and LeBron really closed the game out strong until Davis came in to actually close the game out. But they did their part in separating. And he has not looked all that great. I agree with you both. I thought he screen set it really well. Steph Curry is getting some really good looks. Same thing for LeBron James. Derek, you mentioned that in the open, that he's getting some really good looks also. And I was talking to Vince, and we were talking about the slip screen, him looking for the ball versus simply setting it, allowing those two guys to come off and get good looks. Those guys are getting wide open looks at whatever shot they want. They're getting wide open looks because he's setting some real NBA screens, and he's not looking for the ball.
Screens that a lot of times he doesn't set in the NBA.
Exactly,
I'd love to see him set those
so
screens,
he's doing that, and hopefully that does translate to the NBA when he gets back here out of Philadelphia. But he just simply has to be better. And as far as him coming off the bench, people have been asking for this again since the first exhibition game against Canada, and he has played so much better. So let's see what he does against South Sudan again. They play them on Wednesday afternoon. See what they do, what he does against them. Because right now, if he's going to start, Steve Kerr already showed us that they'll pull him very quickly if things are not going well. That was a quick hook, man. Yeah, at 3 minutes, he was out of that game. And I don't know if I didn't think he looked all that gas. He just didn't play well, and they were down 10-2. So he had to make a decision and make a substitution, and that's what he did. But he has to knock down the shots. He missed that early jumper that he always makes. He came back and made it later. He has to make his free throws. He has to be engaged on the defensive end. I thought he closed out okay on those three-pointers that we know he can get caught on in international play. But for the most part, he just simply has to be so much better than he was on Sunday in that opening game. And as you said, Derek, they blow out a team, but this is the one that's dominating the conversation because I guess we have to have something to talk about.
Yeah, and I think Joe's just such a polarizing player that there are a lot of people hanging on his every failure. And every time he trips up, it's going to happen. It's part of covering a troll for as long as we have.
He has definitely reached it's certainly not as bad as it was for LeBron because LeBron was just a bigger name than has been, always will be. But has definitely reached that point where it's like until he wins, anything he does wrong is magnified by at least 5 to 10 times. Like he basically can't have a bad game. He's not allowed to have a mistake that's classic Joel Embiid. Like yesterday, people are tweeting stuff. And the funniest part was when Celtics fans were like, oh, this is a classic Embiid game. And the obvious retort is, hey, it's a classic Jason Tatum game. He didn't play and didn't matter, and his team still won by 20 plus points. So if you want to go down that road, we can go down that road. But that's kind of where he is, right? People want to see him put up or shut up in games that actually matter. And we can debate how important game one in pool play of the Olympics is or are, but these games are like the whole basketball world is watching right now. The Olympics are a massive, massive event with a lot of attention. As you mentioned at the top of the show, Devon, he's getting booed every time he touches the ball by all the French people because they're still upset that he didn't come play for Team France, and Team France looked pretty good themselves over the weekend. So he's dealing with a different level of pressure, just like on the ground in France than a lot of these guys, because he turned an entire country against them, plus whoever the other team's fans are that are showing up for these games. So it's going to be like this for a while. Like I don't
give your passport back, man.
I know that Daryl and Paul George and a lot of these guys have been asked about it and have talked about it. I'm not sure they're really prepared for what this year is going to be like, where there's always attention on Joel Embiid and there's been attention on the Sixers for a while. But now people are like, oh, they had the best offseason out of any team in the league. And Joel's 30 and is on Team USA and has won an MVP. It's like, okay, man, all this stuff is great. Tyrese Maxey, all-star, just got his max contract. If the results don't come now, if you thought the blowback was bad before, it is going to get a lot worse.
And even if they win, as you just laid all that out, even if they win, he's not going to get any credit for it. He's going to say now he rode the coattails of Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Steph Curry. He had nothing 100%. To do with it. The one
he would
video
need to have like a big time game in the gold medal game for any of this stuff to go away.
And the video that everybody was pushing around, the one that somebody was like helping carry a dresser, and you guys are carrying the show, and I'm just sitting here, just let me hold the mic like this, and I'm not doing anything. And that's
let me stay at home for 3 months,
like that. Yeah, exactly like that.
Glad somebody brought it up.
And that's what they're now incorporating with him when it comes to this pool play here, this group play of them being out there. Like he did stuff to help, of course, during that stretch when they came back. He didn't look all that great in the beginning. He has an opportunity now to rebound from all of that and come back out against South Sudan and have a much better game against them to kind of quiet this stuff down. But as we saw with that 18-point performance, whatever it was, in the win that they had last week, it's not going to matter probably until it's that gold medal game and he drops 20 and just dunks on somebody, dominates
or doesn't play.
Or doesn't play. And then they'll say again, look how they won without him even in the lineup. So he is polarizing. It's not going to stop. And this is just something that we're going to have to deal with for the next couple of weeks because it's going to be an ongoing thing.
That's real hopeful of you that we're only going to deal with this for a couple of weeks.
Hopeful of that one, that is just dealing with it for the next couple of weeks.
We all silly like the mayor.